ladies and gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors and professionals, students and scholars of English literature, provided literature, language and grammar. How a letter can be written to God? Simply you can understand through words and sentences that will make you able to talk to the Lord or omnipotent and omnipresent, Almighty. In the form of nature and celestial bodies, we feel the presence of Lord. It was the supreme message which was conveyed by Swami Vivekananda in air, fire, soil, sky and water. But Swamiji proved and advocated in the America. Our India has the existence of Lord even at lightless. They say faith can move mountains. But what should we put our faith in? This is the question. This story delicately for who writes a letter to God when his clothes are ruined, asking for 100 pesos. Does Lancho's letter reach God? Does God send him the? What your answers to these questions would be, and guess how the story continues before you begin to read it. Dear friends, the house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. Height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lancho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Now we are really going to get some water woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, yes, God willing. The older boys were working in the field, while the smaller ones were playing near the house, until the woman called to them all, come for dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lancho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The men went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, "These aren't raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces, and the little ones are fives." With a satisfied expression, with its flowers, wrapped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly, a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. "It's really getting bad now," exclaimed the man. "I hope it passes quickly." It did not pass quickly. For an hour the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white, as if covered with salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lancho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, "A plague of locust would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn." That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope: help from God. Don't be so upset. Like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. That's why they say, no one dies of hunger. Although the night, Lancho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes had been instructed. See everything, even what is deep in one's consistence. Lancho was an ox of a man, working like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how we write. The Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mole. In the mole, it was nothing less than a letter to God. God, he wrote, God, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes, because the hailstorm. Dear friends, listen carefully. How expected the farmer was. What was the faith, devotion, dedication for the Lord or God he has in his mind. Really praiseworthy and appreciable. He wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside, and still troubled, went to town at the post office. He placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. The postmaster, a fat, amicable, the postmaster, a fat, amicable fellow, also broke out laughing. But almost immediately he turned serious and tapping a letter on his desk commented, "What faith? I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter." Starting up a correspondence with God. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. Answer the letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper. But he stuck to his resolution. He asked for money for his employees. He himself gave part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos, so he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lancho, and with it a letter containing only a single word as his signature, gold. The following Sunday, Lancho came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office. Lancho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence, but he became angry. When he counted the money, God could not have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lancho what he had requested. Immediately, Lancho went up to window to ask for paper and ink. On the writing table, he started to write with much wrinkling of his brow, caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, which he licked and then affixed to the envelope with a blow of his fist. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. It said, "God of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks." Lancho, dear friends, you can imagine that what kind of person he was. A farmer who was innocent. You have heard A number of stories and personalities are there in this world. Those who have strong faith and they are helped by the helpers. All the needy, downtrodden, dejected, rejected people of this society are respected and welcomed by the seniors, by the great men of India. Because Indian land is the land of forefathers, foretellers, forecasters, messengers, free thinkers, freedom fighters. But a man is to dedicate and devote themselves selflessly. As per the thought of Swami Vivekananda, you will read that Swamiji addressed the worldly people to do the work selflessly. If we have any expectation, if we have any desire, then it may be the cause of decline our character. So this was the great message which was expressed by Swami Vivekananda throughout the world. He addressed the worldly people by saying that, my brothers and sisters of the America, these words was the symbol of Indian culture. Physically, that social reformist who is working in our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, you may expect for the brightness of the future. Dear friends, if you are really working without any personal interest for the welfare of society and nation, then one day, every day will be new for you. Every moment of life will become enjoyable and pleasuresome for you. Because he says that God or Lord, who is always within the beating of our heart. All starters, beginners, initiators, those who came first on this land, they selected this Indian land for messaging the worldly people, for serving the worldly. Our nation is really praiseworthy, admirable and appreciable. Time to time, our Indian land has respected all the cultures of the world, all the languages, castes are being respected and had respected and will be respected by this Indian land. Unity in diversity, which is the greatest and supreme feature of our nation, in the form of figures, styles, manners, size, shape, we have started numberless initiatives for the reformation in our society, for providing an international outlook to the worldly people. We have started numberless programs. Dear friends, you can read this thing that every citizen of India who is working in the foreign countries, he has cosmopolitan outlook. This is the great message of Indian motherland, to be and patriotic person of this society. It is everyone's duty to do the work for the welfare of others. One idea, one nation, one man can bring revolutionary and visionary change. History is evident. It was the time of First World War in 1914 to 18. After that, there were two persons, Mussolini and Hitler, from Germany and Italy. They brought Second World War in 1938 by becoming tyranny, by becoming dictators. They set on fire the parliament of the Germany and Italy, and it was the starting of Second World War 1938 to 1945. How the one person became, how some persons brought revolutionary change. This was the negative influence of the negativity in their mind. How one negativity brought revolutionary and harmful changes. But on the other hand, if someone is motivated positively, dear friends, a historical message was provided by Swami Vivekananda by saying that my nation is known by character, not by colors. This was the great message. And this was the image of our nation, which was spread out by the unique personality. He who was multidimensional and multi-sided personality of the world. Dear friends, you are learning two stories about flying. His first flight, how our soul fly in the sky. You can understand through this lesson. If our mind is so faster, greater, nicer than other things, then how is the flight of the soul? You can easily judge these things. Dear friends, today we are using all online programs freely, and we have become the great copier. Imagination we are to use, which is the best technology to learn. For the scholars and learners, it will make them more creative and active. So for the reformation, regeneration of our nation, it is necessary that we are to judge the flight of our soul in the sky. His first flight, the young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister all had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night, even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away. He failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly, upbraiding him, threatening to let him starve on its ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents. He had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sister, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it, standing on a rope while his parents circled around raising a proud cackle. And all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. He stepped slowly out of the ledge and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wing, he closed one eye, then the other. He closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. He saw his two brothers and his sisters lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. His father was preening the feathers, only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again, she tore at a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scraped each side of her breast on the rope. The sight of the food maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Ga, 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 he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Go, call, she screamed back derisively, but he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of the fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rope with his feet, trying to get nearer to her. as she flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer. And then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space. Then a monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach, and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upward. Ga, 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 gaupal, ah. His mother swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. Then his father flew over him screaming. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, covering and banking and soaring and diving. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him with little ridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and caved amusedly. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise, again flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise, exhausted, felt energyless. What happened at that time? Lay the strange exercise. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no farther. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. He had made his first flight. This was the first flight. You can understand how was the journey of the birds in the sky. How do they manage? The black aeroplane. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. I should call Paris control soon. I thought as I looked down and passed. past the none of the aeroplane. I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris controlled, Dakota DSOOSS here. England, over. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS 088. I can hear you. You ought to turn twice degree west on DS 088, over. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I will be in time for breakfast. I thought a good big English breakfast, everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me. Across the sky, I knew I could not fly up and over them. I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. I ought to go back to Paris. I thought, but I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. I will take the risk. I thought and flew that cold Dakota straight into the storm. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. I could not believe. Dear friends, you are listening, continue. It is an interesting experience of the journey of first flight. My eyes, the compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead. Too, I tried the radio. Paris control, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Paris control. There was no answer. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Then in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me. Through the storm, I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved. Follow me, he was saying, follow me. He knows that I am lost. I thought he is trying to help me. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota so that it would be easier for me to follow him. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. After half an hour, the stranger black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Now there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again. But then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. Suddenly, I came out of the clouds and saw 2 long straight lines of lights in front of me. It was a runway, an airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone I could not see it anywhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. I went and asked the woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed. Another aeroplane up there in this storm? No other aeroplane were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. So who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in my tanks? Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm? Flying in the storms without lights. Dear friends, what an amazing experience. Flying in the sky through first flight. You are listening how to tell wild animals. How to speak, how to tell wild animals. If ever you should go by chance, if ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast, if he roars at you, if he roars at you as you are dying, you will know it is the Asian lion. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, and if there should be you advance a large and tawny breast, if he roars at you as you are dying, you will know it is the Asian lion. Or if sometime when roaming round a noble wild beast greets you with black stripes on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tigers to discern. Or if sometime when roaming round a noble wild beast greets you with black stripes on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. If strolling forth a beast you view, whose height with force is pepper, as soon as he has leapt on you, you will know it is the leopard. Will do no good to roar with pain, he will only lap and lap again. If strolling for a beast you view, whose height with spores in pepper, as soon as he has leapt on you, you will know it is the leopard. Will do no good to roar will pain, will do no good to roar with pain, he will only lap and lap again. How to tell wild animals? How to treat wild animals? how to treat with nature, how nature nurtures us like a mother, how nature treats us like a doctor, how nature plays multi roles in our life. If when you are walking down your yard, if when you are walking round your yard, you meet a creature there. You meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard. Be sure it is a bear. Be sure it is a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess he will give you just one more cares. If when you are walking down your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. If you have no doubts, I guess he will give you just one more cares. Though to distinguish beast of prey, a novice might non-pulse. Though to distinguish beast of prey, a novice might non-plus. The crocodile you always may tell from the hyenas. Hyenas come with merry smile, but if they weep, they are crocodile. Though to distinguish beast of prey, a novice might not plus. The crocodile you always may tell from the hyenas. Hyenas come with merry smile. If they weep, they are crocodile. Of thing that you chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all and not a single wing. If there is on the tree, T is the chameleon you see. If there is nothing on the tree, T is the chameleon you see. The true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, T is the chameleon you see. Dear friends, you are listening the poem which has the great significance for talking, for telling to the wild animals. Numberless poems, novels, dramas were written by the inventors of language, literature and grammar for making us understand the values of nature, how this nature, environment, atmosphere are useful, praiseworthy and appreciable. Every word of the holy and admire. With their manners, styles, they admire the nature. So really, God's word is really mysterious. Nobody can understand it entirely. In the form of celestial bodies, we see the moon, the sun, the stars, the open sky, the land. But in spite of these, instead of these, God says that He is really uncounted, unread, was provided by our social reformist Swami Vivekananda, who told to the people, return to the Vedas, return to the nature, return your childhood, because our Indian land is the land of persons who sacrificed themselves for others, for the public interest. They worked a lot entirely. So we should not forget, we should start our day by praising the nature. Then this nature encourages us, motivates us, makes us winner. A winner is he who says that winners don't do the different things, they do the things differently. Further, winner says that I am the answer of the problems, but loser says that I have a problem. There is an oceanic difference between a winner and loser. Dear friends, to be a winner, you have to fight against your negativities. Our India is really the nation of freedom fighters. Lord or God, who has advised us for winning in our life, there should not be any frustration, depression in our youngsters for the recreation of our nation. There are many stories you will read through the writings of our short story writers. William Wordsworth also has exposed at one place, the word is too much with us. He says that you are not to compare yourself with others, but you are to compare yourself with yourself. Your present with your past, you will know, you will judge your progress, you will be able to count your abilities, progresses, improvements. So that will make you the winner in your life. So this is the great way. Dear friends, this is the Platonic theory that is based upon the ideas. Plato, who imagined that the word has come in the form of light and sound, then later on 84 lakh species were started, and that light, God's light, Lord's light, activated them, vibrated them, and this is the existence of Lord or God that we see around us in the form of colorful words. So our nation, which is multiculturalist and multilinguist nation, we have around us, there is no question of poverty, there is no question of drawbacks, weaknesses and shortcomings. Every single word, every single element and object of the nature is praiseworthy, and it encourages, motivates us, improves us by itself. Dear friends, it depends upon our positive outlook. If we think positive, if we have positive energy in our mind, then we can take the fine example from our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who has explained that in a discussion, when a person asked from him, how much water do you judge in the half glass of, he says that it doesn't matter. I think that it is filled with half with water, it is filled with half water and half with air. So dear friends, there is no question of negativity, inferiority, drawbacks. We should be positive like our present Prime Minister, who has brought revolutionary and visionary change, bottom to top, root to fruit. And another fine example of our present President, who has become the 15th President of our democratic India, and constitutionally praiseworthy and admirable personality, who has fought in his life for the welfare of the poor, downtrodden, rejected people of our society. Dear friends, this Indian land is the land of ideals. We have established a great fame in the history of the Green Book, Limca Book, and all over the world, because our all shining stars, those who have become the governor and ruler of this Indian motherland, they have come from the bottom and from the root. Really, it is praiseworthy and admirable movement for the empowerment of the women and for the poor people, those who are always busy, those who are always working physically hard. They will think about their soul, how they can re-establish this nation, how they can recreate, regenerate, reoperate our nation by their physical, mental, spiritual efforts. Dear friends, we have invented a lot of techniques in the form of electronology, technology. Our India is becoming advanced in all the initiatives. Our Indian villagers, Indian rulers all are using different social media sites, websites, Facebook, Instagram, online programs. These are also the startings and initiations of the Indian motherland. Our India has created a revolutionary change in the world. So we should understand the interpersonal skills, manners, styles through PMKVY and through MMKVY. We are providing a number of courses to our youngsters for motivating them, for providing them skills. Dear friends, if you are degree holder, diploma holder, you are well and good, but you will become finer, nicer, better for the betterment and upliftment of our society and nation, personally, publicly, professionally, economically, politically. You can become finer when you will be honest for becoming the nationalistic and patriotistic person, like our fine examples of the rulers, our nice examples of the rulers at this time, those who are governing in India. How have they brought visionary and revolutionary change? It is a great motivational, inspirational source for us, for all the people, those who are residing in the villages, cities. They must know that everything has merits and demerits. Everything has advantage and disadvantage. Everything has drawbacks, but we are to be positive. We are to be positive, and we are to take the lesson, example through them. Our history is evident that wherever, whenever, anywhere was the weaknesses, these weaknesses became their achievements, and these achievements made them historical. We can observe, examine, evaluate through our historical buildings and religious places. Any place, wherever we visit, that place is evident. If someone do not praise you, don't mind, it's not a matter of praising, getting praise from others, but you are to be self-motivated and self-encouraged for bringing success in the life. You must have soul power. As per the notion of Swami Vivekananda, he says that Success is not the name of any platform, but success is the name of determination and decision. Moreover, we can say continuity and regularity. Success in your life. Dear friends, if you are doing social welfare works and someone is not praising you, it's not a matter of sorrow, it's not a matter of worry for you, because your body is made by 5 elements: air, fire, soil, sky and water. All these are evident and witness of your goodnesses. Even around all the stars, the moon, the sun, the sky, the land, all these are also the evidence of the goodnesses. So continue your goodnesses. Your high morals will make our nation more healthy, wealthy and wise. So don't think that you have become greater, bigger and higher and you cannot learn. By your childhood, you can become a child by your strong memory. Dear friends, what is written in Holy Scripture? We read daily, early to bed, early to rise, healthy, wealthy and wise. Our 24 hours is the symbol of present. Our past 24 hours are the symbol of past actions, past time and past place. Coming 24 hours will show the future time, future place, future action. Don't mind, don't think back, but keep your mind in present. Our present lies in the past. Dear friends, it is in the energy and power of Indian motherland. Our first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who addressed the worldly people through his discovery of India. Mahatma Gandhi, who addressed the people through testament with the truth. So this land is the land of leaders, freedom fighters, free thinkers. Everyone is free to move. This was written by Rabindranath Tagore. Where the mind is without fear, where a mind can live, can think, can write, read, speak freely, where there is fearless and friendliness, there is the place of life. So we start the life skills there. Dear friends, ultimately, to sum up my speech, I would like to praise, admire our present President, 15th present President, Mother Shrimati Draupadi Murmu, who brought revolutionary and visionary change in the thought of our present women's rejected, downtrodden people of our society. So we must follow the path of our great rulers and leaders, those who brought revolutionary change all over the world. Our present Prime Minister, who is not lagging behind, he is the first and last in our nation. Bottom to top, root to fruit, we are to get the lesson and example from them for bringing sharpening in our nation. Dear friends, ultimately and finally, I would like to thank God who has provided us this fine time, nice place, nice action. Thanks Lord, thanks God. Really it is nice time, nice place and nice action. Every place is praiseworthy where there is the admiration of Lord or God. Thank you, nice to see you, nice to talk to you.